All right, let's go ahead and finish up our last 4 problems. So just want to make sure everybody was good with this one. So a squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. We work those out. Whenever we're solving an equation, we do the opposite, just like when we do proportions and it's multiplication, we divide both sides. So this was addition. So do the opposite, subtract. We get a squared is 9, but we have to undo the a squared, which means square root both sides. So these cancel, as we said above, and we get a equals square root of 9, 3, and the units on the pictures meters. Okay, so let's do these last 4. So first we have to identify C. And so I can see that C is 10 inches. Since this is B, then we'll call this one A. So in place of A squared, we're going to say 6 squared plus, in place of B squared, we just have to write B squared, nothing's there, equals C squared, which is 10 squared. So 36 plus B squared equals 10 times 10, which is 100. I'm going to bring it up here. So we're trying to get B alone. So we have to do the opposite. The opposite of add 36 is subtract 36, because this is a positive right there. Subtract 36. And we get B squared equals 10. 10 make it a 9. 1 make it a 0. So we have 64. And lots of times students stop there, but this question isn't asking you to find B squared. I don't even see a B squared in the picture. It wants to know what B is. So to figure out what B is, we have to undo that square, do the opposite, which is square root, so those will cancel. But whatever we do to the left side, we have to do to the right side. So that comes out to be B equals 8 inches. Nice, huh? Okay, the next 3 we have to draw our own picture for, which is usually the case. Lots of times they do Pythagorean Theorem with shadow problems, building, casting a shadow, ladder problems. So usually you do have to draw your own picture. So this is good practice and good for the vocab. So sketch the right triangle and find the length of the side not given. Approximate to the nearest hundredth if we have to. So this says the 2 legs, remember the 2 legs are the ones that hook onto the right angle, are 8 centimeters and 12 centimeters. And we're supposed to find the side not given, so what letter should we call it? It's opposite the right angle. C. Okay, so I guess this one can be A and this one can be B. So we have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 8 squared plus 12 squared equals C squared. So 8 times 8, 64. 12 times 12, 144. And that equals C squared. So we have 8, 10, 208 equals C squared. And that is not a perfect square. I'm going to just verify my work here. So how I can verify it is I can do 8, hit the squared button, plus 12, hit the squared button, and see that it's 208. So let's check and see if 208 is a perfect square. Like I said, I do not recognize it. I don't think so. So do your square root button by hitting second x squared, type in 208, close your parenthesis, and you can see it is not a perfect square because it fills up our screen. So nearest hundredth would be 14.42. Tenths, hundredths, 2 followed by 2 says leave it. So approximately square root, because we want to know what C is, not C squared. So C, these cancel. C is approximately 14.42 in centimeters. Okay, next one. Ooh, we're getting to be kind of big numbers now. So we have a right triangle, and it says one leg is 36 kilometers. The hypotenuse, which is opposite the right angle, is 39 kilometers. So we can call that A or B. I'm just going to call it A. I'll call this B. This is the only one that there's no choice. It has to be C because it's a side opposite the right angle. So now plugging into Pythagorean, A squared is going to stay A squared plus B squared is going to be 36 squared equals C squared, which is 39 squared. So 36, hit the squared button, is 1296. So A squared plus 1296 equals 39, and then hit the squared button, is 1521. And then we need everything on the right side except for the A. So we need to get A alone. So we need to move this over. So again, we're doing the opposite. The opposite of add 1296 is subtract 1296. Since my calculators are right here, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Minus 1296, and it's 225. So that's one we've talked about today. A couple times we've seen it. So you guys remember the square root of 225? 15. So A equals 15 kilometers. Notice on this one, I used an equal sign because did I round? Second square root 225. There's no rounding. This is an exact answer. Where on this one, I had to round, hence the squigglies. So an exact answer gets an equal sign. If you had to cut some numbers off, then we put the approximate symbol. Okay, the last problem of your Math 081 life. If you want to try it on your own first, this would be a good one to practice on, as long as you have a calculator, because it's kind of big numbers. So you can turn off the camera or the video if you want and try it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. So we have a city block. And it's a square. So we know these are equal. Each side measuring 275 feet. 275 feet. and so on. I don't think we need to mark all the sides. We got them that they're equal. Find the length of the diagonal of the block to the nearest tenth of a foot. So does everybody know what a diagonal is? The definition is it's a segment that connects opposite vertices. Vertices are corners, so opposite would be this. So it connects this corner to this corner. That's a diagonal. Well, we know squares have 4 right angles, so do you see where this is going? We're trying to find the length of the diagonal, and since it's opposite the right angle, it's going to be C. So either one of these could be A or B. It doesn't matter. They're the same number, plus it doesn't matter which one we call which. So now we're ready for the Pythagorean Theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And it's so important that you identify C, because if you had called one of these C, it wouldn't have worked out. So C always has to be opposite the right angle. And then A and B you can pick. So A is 275 squared plus B is 275 squared equals C squared. Whoa, forgot my 5. Got a little too excited to be done. Okay, so watch how I do this on the calculator. It's kind of a cool thing because calculators know the order of operations, so you don't have to do it separately. So you go 275 squared plus 275 squared, and then I get that whole side done with one set of operations. So 151,250. Isn't that cool? So the calculator's all programmed with order of operations. So you can type a whole line in and it does it all. So it knows to square this and then to square this and then to add the two answers together at the end. Cool, huh? And even though it's big numbers, it doesn't matter because guess what? We still do the same steps. In order to find out what C is, we don't want to know what C squared is. We have to undo that square, which means take the square root of it. But if I take the square root of the right side, I have to take the square root of the left side. So I get C, and it says round. So I'm going to put my parenthesis or my approximate symbols in. And so now I'm going to do second square root. Oops, don't want to get too high. 151,250. Close your parentheses, then check your screen to make sure you didn't make a mistake. Square root, correct number. And this one said round to the nearest tenth. Tenth is 1 decimal place, so it's approximately 388.9 because 9 is followed by a 0. So 388.9, and that would be feet. So C is the diagonal, so the diagonal is approximately 388.9 feet. So real close to 389 feet. Nice, huh? I wouldn't want to do that one without a calculator, of course, but with a calculator, not so bad. Okay, that's the end of your Math 082. I wish you guys the best, and I hope you study really hard for your final. Make it a good one. See you soon.